On the outside, your life looks pretty okay. But on the inside, you're feeling restless and stuck. You're unsure if this is the life that you've been made for. So today's question comes from a young man who's doing all the right things outwardly, but inwardly, nothing feels clear. How can he know what direction God really wants him to go in? So in this video, I'm going to show you the difference between a life of constant outer focus and activity and the interior life, alignment with God. Because most of us are searching for clarity in the world of effects. But the outer life, it's just the echo. The cause is your inner life, intimacy with Christ. And he did say that he is the way. So when you go to him, he doesn't just give you rules and stuff to do. He reveals the exact path that God made for you. So if you're still confused about what to do, this might be the perfect video for you. But before we do, if you're looking for some clarity and alignment with your life's assignment, take a short walk with me, your old Uncle E, by starting with the 1-minute quiz down below. So, today's question. Yo, Elliott. I'm 28 years old, and on paper, my life looks fine. I've got a decent job, my bills are paid, and I'm not in any crisis. But inside, I feel stuck, restless, and totally unclear about what I'm supposed to do with my life. I pray, I journal, I ask God for answers, but nothing feels clear. How do I know what the next step is or what God's direction really is for me? Great question, man. And it reminds me of when I was sort of in your situation. Um, I was new to the faith, learning about Christianity, reading all the books and doing all the things. And I was not exactly sure what I wanted to do with my life at this point, but I gave it to Christ. So I started looking for advice. I'm looking in the Bible. I'm looking at what the church teaches. I'm doing the prayers. I'm memorizing the prayers. In fact, I memorized so many prayers, even in Latin. Like I can pray prayers in Latin. I won't impress you right now, maybe later. I journal, right? Journaling is really important. And asking, begging, pleading with God, please help me out here. Not exactly sure. What am I supposed to do? Because becoming a Christian is confusing. Because it's like you're supposed to forget the world because you're not of the world, you live in the world, but yet you're swimming in problems of the world. Well, what do you do? Do I just let it go? But then what do I do? Where do I go? It's a little bit confusing. And so when I was in your shoes, I was doing exactly what you were doing, which is focusing on activity, focusing on outside, focusing on being without. Oh, there's this crazy saying in the gospel where Jesus says something that I think most people don't get. Still wrestling with myself. It's really strange. Here it goes. He says, he who has more will be added to him. So if you got stuff, you got it, you're going to get more. He says, he who is without, even what he has will be taken from him. Isn't that crazy? Isn't Jesus supposed to be like a social justice warrior? Supposed to take from the rich and give to the poor, right? He's always talking about like, the virtue of being poor. Well, how would he could possibly say this? It's total confusion. Here's what I think he means by that. When you focus on what he calls the kingdom, which is within, and he constantly reminds us, the kingdom's within. When you focus on the kingdom within, you're dealing in the world of unlimited possibilities. You're living in the world of truth, imagination. You're living in the spirit realm, the intangible realm, if you will. You're guided and also guiding the intangible with your thoughts and your feelings. You can't touch thoughts. You can't touch your imagination. You can't grasp a feeling with your hands. The kingdom is within. And when you're within, you're not without. I'll pause for a second. let's talk more about what's within. Well, the kingdom is within, yeah. But what do you see when you imagine the kingdom within? Because there's no objective truth about what that kingdom within looks like. Nobody's seen it. Anybody's seen the kingdom inside you? Anybody's seen the kingdom inside someone else? Or have you seen it in someone? No idea what that kingdom looks like. That kingdom is like, man, it's like it's a sandbox because it is made up of intangible things. You know, sand, you can build things with sand, but it fades away. It's sort of the same way on the inside, isn't it? Like your dreams come and go, your thoughts come and go. This is what's all happening on the inside. This is the only thing that we can actually agree is happening on the inside. Clouds are passing by, thoughts are passing by, things are rising up. This is the inner life. This is where Jesus says to go. Now, when he says that he who has more will be added to him, you got to consider, well, if I'm focusing in on the kingdom, what do I have in the kingdom? And that's going to be dictated by what? Your thoughts, your feelings, your imagination, where Jesus Christ resides. He even says that he who believes in me and my Father will come and will dwell with him. Paul says that it's not I who lives anymore. I've been crucified with Christ. It's he who lives within me. There's all this stuff going on inside here. And we're taught constantly not to trust what's going on inside here. Wow, there's for good reason. We can be manipulated on the inside from what's without. Music, movies, media, school, all kinds of propaganda manipulation is coming in. That's why you got to close your door, like Christ says, when you go into your closet. Ignore the world of effects completely. You got to close your door to the world of effects, and you have to have what you have within in order to have it without. The world within is the world of causes. That's why Jesus says, seek first the kingdom, and everything you want will be added to you. He doesn't say seek Satan's kingdom, which is he's the king of this world. He's the Lord of this world. That's what Jesus Christ calls him. The Lord of this world, the world of boundaries, the world of separation, the world of duality, the world of fear and manipulation. He says, no, 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 don't worry about that world. Don't worry anything about that world. Give Caesar what's his, give me what's mine inside here. And he says, even if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. So the faith that what's happening in here, if based on Christ, who is the truth, the light, and the way, we'll talk about in a moment here today, if it's based on that, you will have exactly what God wants you to have. And what you want is what God wants for you. In another place, Jesus Christ says something like this. He says, if you being a sinner, your child asks you for a loaf of bread, are you going to give him a stone? Give him a rock? Here, kid. Oh, you want bread? Here's a rock. You who are a sinner, if your child asks you for a fish, are you going to give him a serpent? How much more? He says, you're a sinner, right? Which means like, we're kind of dumb. We're kind of ignorant. You who's a fool wouldn't even do that to your own kid. What do you think about your Father who loves you? He wants to give everything to you. He wants you to have everything that's true to you. He will steer you away from shit that doesn't belong to you. False goals, troll goals, things that you think you want that are just going to destroy you like lust. Yeah, he's gonna warn you against it and try to steer you against it, and you'll have to pay the consequences if you don't listen, but there is a perfect path for you. And if you have it, meaning trusting in it, having faith in it, the kingdom within, you will have it without. You have to, here's the crazy thing, and there's so many crazy things about the interior life, but the metaphysical life, the spiritual life. There's so many seeming uh, contradictions. He says you have to have it in order to have it. You have to have it You have to have it in order to have it. You can't have it if you don't have it. What do you want to have? You don't even know what you want to have. We'll get to that in a moment. You want truth, and we'll get to that in a second. I'm breaking down this one weird line that Christ says. You got to have it in order to have it, and when you have it, more will be given to you. The only way you can have it before having it is having it inside. You got to go to the kingdom. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, alignment with that kingdom. And all these things will be added to you. Don't be trying to add shit to you from the outside, because here's the second half of that line. He who is without, not within, without. Think about that. The difference between being within and without. People think that to be without is the opposite of being with. I have it, or I don't have it. I'm without it. It's a strange thing. What do you mean without? Out is a place, it's not a thing. Language sort of betrays the truth. I don't have the thing, so I'm without it. Without means the opposite of without is within, so we know that it is outside of something. What? Outside of the kingdom. He who's without, even what he has will be taken from him. Because if you are living in the world of effects, if you're living in the world outside, the world without, you're living in the world of illusion, true illusion. How do you know that the world is illusion? Because everything is dust. Everything is in constant flux. Jesus says, do not store up your grains in barns where moths will eat it and people can steal it. Build up your treasure in heaven where nobody can touch it. And if you're constant in true communion with Christ on the inside, no one can mess with you. They can't even kill you. They can't even take your life. They can't even take your life. That's why martyrs are the seed of the church. Blood of the martyrs are the seed of the church. Because the more you kill us, the more we multiply. That's why these people who are so worried about the evil in the world right now, they can't see what Christ is doing. Christianity's on the rise. And it's a scary thing because the more of us there are, the more there will be. And the more you try to kill us, the more the boomerang effect happens. The world of causes bangs out powerfully in the world of effects. You see more Christians these days because of how hard Satan played his hand during the pandemic. We're just seeing the boomerang effect. Anyway, tangent. So you're feeling restless, stuck, and totally unclear about what to do because your life is focused on the outside, even the good things that you're doing. Your prayer, like I said before, I won't go down that rabbit hole, is very much probably a very prayer without. Pray without, right? And this is something that like everybody struggles with, not just Catholics. Everyone wants to blame Catholics for idol worship because we like paintings and sculptures and stuff like that. Nope. By the way, Catholics don't worship those things. They're meant to do what? Stimulate the imagination so that piety and spiritual uh, feelings arise. They're a reminder. They stimulate the inside. But our focus is on worshiping idols. We're praying to things, we're praying for things, we're praying about things. It's all thing focus. And even our prayers are just things. I've got prayer books, lots of prayer books. I got prayer beads, I got rosary beads. Like I said, I memorize all those things. You know what all those things are? Things. There are some powerful prayers. They're great prayers. Prayers are symbols. These written prayers, exorcism prayers. I got deliverance prayers. These are great prayers. But the prayers themselves are what? It's just, and even like the Bible, like what is it? It's just ink blots on a sheet of paper. All right, it's ink blots on a sheet of paper. If you show that to somebody who can't read, they'll just be like, "Oh, it's just some black spots on a piece of paper." What do those words actually do? They're supposed to stimulate something within. But if you're just repeating them, you're just repeating these words that you memorized, or reading these words, but they don't stimulate the kingdom within, which are your thoughts, your feelings, your imagination, they're useless. They're all focused on the world without. I know a lot of people that do this. So your prayer has to be within. It has to be within. Jesus even talks about, the hypocrites who stand on the corner and pray. Right? He's like, yeah, they stand on the corner and praying so everybody can see them. All their prayer is loud, loud prayer. I'm a loud guy, but my prayer time is the quietest time of the day. Quiet internally and quiet externally. You know, I think I think in Christianity, I love the faith, but a lot of things have fallen to the wayside. A lot of things that were prevalent in the first century and consistent with what Christ actually teaches, we've almost been steered away from. We've been taught to be afraid of the kingdom. We've been taught to be afraid of what's inside. How many Christians you talk to? And I know because I'm a pendulum swinger. I am an extremist. And I know because I played that game too, where it's like, don't meditate, never go within, don't trust the heart. All these things. Why is there so much a focus on not trusting within when Jesus Christ says, I will dwell within? This is the temple of the Holy Spirit. This is where the kingdom is. This is where truth resides. Everything is within. And one of the things that Jesus Christ demonstrates consistently, and the church fathers, the desert fathers, the church mystics, and saints of the church demonstrate, is the inner life, the interior life. The interior life is the life of meditation. Meditation. I don't like using that word because I think it's sort of been bastardized. And I think there's many different sort of ways that you can meditate. But Jesus Christ meditated. That's why he skipped off to the desert and he went away from people when he went to go pray with his Father. And we have the teaching of the church. St. Alphonsus Liguori, doctor of the church, says that if your prayer life does not evolve into mental prayer, which is another form of meditation, you will be stuck in your prayer life, your interior life, your spiritual life. Teresa of Avila said she's persistent and consistent and adamant about the fact that if you're not meditating, you're not doing mental prayer, contemplative prayer, silent prayer, meditation. It's funny that we got all these words for it, but everybody understands when I say meditation. I like silent prayer because I like the word prayer. I like the word prayer. But she says that if you are not meditating, it's just a matter of time before Satan grabs you. Who is Satan? Satan is the Lord of the world. If you're focused with outward prayer, you're without, and he's the Lord of the world without. So you're gonna be without the whole time. You gotta go within. Journaling, same thing. Journaling is what? Like I said before, there's those Christians that worship the Bible. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, yo, it's a book. It's a book. Oh, like the book itself is God. That's another idol worship. Sorry, folks. It's another idol worship. The words are of no value if you don't have a powerful mind. If you don't have a mind of discernment, if you don't have an imagination, if you can't read, that's the point. That's why there's all this knock about, how the Catholic Church kept the Bible away from people for so long. It's like, you don't remember, people couldn't read. The only reason why the church held the Bible and read it to the people and told them what they said is because people couldn't read. Now the people could read, yeah, of course. Anyway, journaling is just adding more blots to a piece of paper. Of course, there's some value to it. I'm not saying don't do it, but it doesn't create intimacy with the transformative union with God. It doesn't. Only one thing does: Jesus Christ. And asking God for answers. Asking God for answers will never get you anything, because whenever you're asking for something, one of my teachers said this once. She said, Elliott, every question is born out of fear. There's not a single question that's not born out of fear. We ask questions, we ask for stuff, right? Asking for answers. What do I do? And you're operating in fear. Fear is a byproduct of the world without. When you're asking questions, you are without. So by very virtue of you asking God questions and asking him for stuff, you are without the stuff. The truth is, it's all within you. And that's where I want to go next. So, nothing feels clear. How do I know what the next step is, or what God's direction for me is? Jesus Christ says it clearly. Number one, we have to establish the fact that he is in the kingdom, seated at the right hand of God the Father. And where's that happening? Right here. God the Father, Jesus Christ, seated at the right hand, the right side of the brain. Your imagination. Jesus Christ even says it himself. This is not me making this stuff up. He says, if your eye not be single, your whole body will be full of darkness. But if your eye be single, one eye, it will be filled with light. Did you know that, well, the pineal gland, which is mentioned in the Bible several times, even Jacob wrestled with God and called the spot pineal. When you imagine, this is the craziest thing, when you use your imagination, did you know that there are light cells in your body that turn on? In order for you to have an imagination, you need to see light. You can't have an imagination if you can't see light. So when you close your eyes, there's actually light on the inside. That's why your mind can be enlightened even if you have no sight. That's the light of Christ within inside. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. So what do? I know I'm talking a lot of stuff and I'm trying to get you to understand these high concepts, which are cool. I think they're cool. Hopefully you think they're cool. We're going to talk about what to do, right? Because that's where we all end up. And when you hear me say stuff like, don't do anything, I'm being a little facetious, but it's true. Because even everything I'm about to say to you, you can't do. Only God's grace can do it. True contemplation, true meditation, you can't do. Even ask the Eastern mystics, dude. I watched a video not too long ago from Alan Watts, and he talks about how people take up meditation like they would take a course in weight loss or computer class. Wow, I'm gonna take up meditation. You can't do meditation. You let go. You stop. You allow. You assent to God's grace in meditation. So even this you're not doing. But I'll tell you what it looks like. So if we know that Jesus Christ resides within, and he's got the answer, he's got the perfect blueprint. He is God residing in you. You're not God. I'm not God, but we are the image, made in the image and likeness of God. And Jesus Christ demonstrates that, and he is that in you and I. Jesus Christ is not outside. He's within. He's in the kingdom. He says it himself. He also says that he's the way. If you're wondering what to do in your life, wouldn't you want to consult with Christ and ask him, what's the way? Show me the way. What is the way? You say you're the way, right? I don't even need to ask about the way. You are the way. Demonstrate the way, JC. He also says that he's the light and he's the truth. I am the way, the light, and the truth. I'm the way, the light, and the truth. Now we know that he says the word life, but in John, I believe chapter 4, I don't memorize the Bible that well. He says that he was the life and he was the light. The light was the life. Jesus Christ is the light. He is the light of Christ. We all use that term. So bear with me. I am the way, I'm the life, and the truth. The way the light, and the truth. You don't know what to do. You want to figure out what to do with your life. You're confused about where you are. Everything looks fine on paper, but you're not content with this being the life that God wants you to live. You feel like there's more. And there is. You wouldn't feel that way if there wasn't more. There is more. But you got to go within in order to consult with, understand. Let me put it this way. Rest in the truth. Rest in the truth. The truth is always within you. The truth is within you, and the truth will set you free. My people suffer because they do not know me. The truth is within you. God is the truth. Christ is the truth. And the truth is, you already have everything. You have everything. You have everything that you want and everything that you need right now. But that's not the story you're telling yourself. But I'm going to demonstrate to you the truth that everything that you want, you already have. And that means that you already have, the fact that you already have it means you'll get what you want because you have to have it to have it. And that's the truth. The truth is you already have it. That's why Jesus says that when the kingdom of God is like a man who finds plot of land, right? Or price of a priceless pearl, and he sells everything. He gets rid of everything for this priceless pearl because once you have the priceless pearl, it's worth everything. It's worth more than what you've got right now. The priceless pearl is within. You let go of everything. That's why Jesus Christ also says it's harder for a rich man to come into the kingdom than for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Why? He's not saying anything against riches. He's saying that when you are rich means what? Full, abundant. When you have a lot outside, you're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly grappling on it. You're constantly worried about it. You're constantly dabbling with it. To be poor doesn't mean don't have shit. To be poor means I have it in here first. And when you're poor, you're rich. That's the craziest thing. When you have it here, you'll have it. Anyway, the truth is the story that you are imbibing and engaging with. And you got to change your story because you're living you're living in lies. The truth is you have everything. And you say, yeah, it looks fine, looks good on paper, but we got to get your light aligned with it. Here's how I know you have everything. And this is what we really want. When you say I want a new house, I want a new car, I want a new relationship, or I don't know what I want, which we'll get to in a moment. But all these things, they're really pointing to just three things that we really want. There's really only three things that we want. There's only three things that we want. And we have them if we pay attention. You want love, peace, and respect. Love, peace, and respect. I made that up. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Love, peace, and respect. Because it's the perfect equation. It's the perfect dynamic of what life is. Love pours down. Love is gravity. Love, that's why God condescended. He came down to us. That's why when you deal with a child who's below, you go down and you deal with the child. Love always pours down. To not speak down to someone, they use that word condescending like it's a bad word. But when you come down, that means you love. Love draws you down. Love is grounding, gravity, right? Respect goes up. We have respect because as we pour love down, respect comes up. There may be things in your life that you put your love into and respect comes. It's the way it works. You have a job. Well, what are you doing? You go down to your job and you condescend to the work that you're doing. That's love. You might not feel love because we're not talking about emotional love. We're talking about the dynamic, the physical dynamics of love, right? Even between a man and a woman, it works this way. A man comes down, he lays her down. Anyway, you do your job. That's love. Anytime there's energy being poured out into something that is of a I don't want to say of a lower nature, but of a not of even of a lower order, because this doesn't respect, but it has to be, it's gravity, like water flowing downstream. Who's more powerful? The mountain where the water stream is coming from, or the ocean that is going into? Even though the mountain is higher, the ocean, man, it's receiving it all. That's why even though men are above women in a way, not completely, but in a way, in one dynamic, the woman wins. Because we pour our love into them. We want to. A man's nature is to give his woman everything. If you really boils down to it, we want to give women everything. That's why we want to have sex with them. When you have sex with a woman, she's not giving you sex. You're giving her your seed. You're giving her your essence. Anyway, and peace is the equilibrium, right? Respect is what you get back, right? Respect is I give you my essence, I give you my seed, and respect is something comes out, baby comes out, love is returned, right? Respect is returned. So it really, love and respect is, I don't know if you could say it because it sounds too new age, but it's the law of attraction, right? You get what you give. It's reaping and sowing. It's sowing and reaping, right? That's all it is. To be happy is to be content with what is. And this is what is all the time. And this is the peace that is peace. Whenever we're out of alignment with these two ascending and descending uh, waves, and everything in life is waves, everything in life is frequency, everything in life is up and down. These aren't particles, they're waves. Just ask scientists, right? It's not new age, this is science. But peace is the equilibrium between all things. And when we are happy, we are content with what's happening, and there's peace. There's no screwed up emotion, no passion, fire of passion. Fire is the light. So Jesus Christ is the truth. In you is the truth when you know you got everything that you already need. And what resides is peace. That's the story you got to tell yourself. That's the story. If you are any way, if you're telling yourself a story that's anything outside of this, you're living without, and you're living in lies. So you got to establish the truth. I am the way, the life, and the truth. Jesus Christ resides within, and He's the truth, the light. So when it comes to the light, there's so much that could be said. And the light can be used for good and for bad. A fire can burn up your whole house. It could burn out a whole city. But a fire gives what? Light. It gives warmth, right? It reveals. The light within you could be the seven deadly passions, right? It could roar. The fire of passion can roar within you. And it could be anger, it could be lust, it could be all these things, but you're feeling it. It's roaring within you. Because your light is not, your eye is not single, your eye is double. It's out there. I see what I want. I see what makes me mad. But if your eye be single, it's the truth that's what's in. Your state, your state, when it comes to that fire, is either a beautiful, warm, enlightening flame, or it's a roaring inferno destroying your life. And when it comes to Christ, we get to choose the light, the lighter light, not the heavy light of destructive emotions. So by bringing the truth into the light, we can now use our imagination to stimulate the emotion associated with having. Jesus Christ said, if you do not have, if you're without, you're going to be without. But if you have, more will be added to you. What can you do? The beautiful thing about fire is that the interesting thing about fire is that it needs wood. It needs fuel. Fire needs fuel. You can feed your fire with good imagination. If you think about a loved one, think about your wife or your girl, like, and you really actually do love her, right? You think about her, you imagine. It's always more powerful to imagine a touch. Imagine hugging her. What does that feel? I did that instantly, and I felt a wave of. I'm feeling it right now. Goosebumps almost. Yeah, you can see them on my skin. I'm imagining when I imagine hugging my wife. I love hugging my wife. We like to hug each other. We're very intimate physically. I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about just hugging her and kissing her on her cheek. Ooh, I can feel that. What is that? In my mind, my single eye, that is wood for my fire that affirms the truth. I got love, I got peace, I got respect, I got everything I want. There is someone, something, or some time in your life that stimulates that peaceful, that good feeling emotional fire. That's the light. When Jesus Christ says that you're the light of the world, you're bringing your light, you're bringing your imaginative light, you're bringing what God is imagining through you into the world. But it starts from within. Everything that's without starts within. Jesus even says, he said, nobody lights a candle and puts a basket over it. But that's what a lot of people are doing when they're ignoring their emotions. There's stuff when you stuff your emotions down, or you ignore your emotions, or you don't use the truth to stimulate and fuel your fire, you're putting a basket on top of it. You're hiding the fire, you're hiding the flame. What does this look like practically? Resting in the peace of the truth of love and respect, which looks a lot like silent prayer, meditation, sitting in the truth, knowing that I am. What does it say in the Psalms? Be still and know that I am. Be still, like I use the bird, I use the dove. Be still and know that I am. That's the truth. The light is stimulating the emotional fire associated with the truth. How do you do that? Well, it's happening all the time. You take control of it. You can either let the world put its fuel on your fire, which will turn it into a destructive flame. What's happening in the news? What are these people doing? What are those people doing? You should be angry at them. Look at how bad things are. Look at the storm that's coming. War is on our doorstep. All that. You like, if you're on social media, look at what that guy has. Look what that person is doing. Look, I want that. Ooh, greed. All that's wood, and you can't get away from it. It's being piled on your fire. But if you close your eyes to that which is without, close your eyes to that shit out there, and you feed your fire within with the power of your single eye, your imagination, Christ within, then you're living in the truth. You're living in the truth. Truth, why would I want anything else to fuel my fire than the truth? And the truth is that God wants for you what you want for yourself. So imagine it. Imagine the house. Imagine the peace, right? The imagination is only there to remind you of the truth and thus stimulate the feeling of the truth. You're not, when people say, oh, you don't trust your feelings, it's true. Don't trust your feelings when they come from without. Don't trust your feelings when they've been stimulated by circumstances or causes or effects. You get to be the stimulator of that fire. You get to choose based on truth, Jesus Christ. Let Jesus Christ be your light. And so this whole video now, I don't even know how long we're into this. You wondering, what is the way? What is the way? So we talked about the story, which is the truth, that you have everything that you need. Your state, which you get to choose, will open the way. Jesus Christ is the way. He's the truth, he's the light, and he will show you the way. Now here's the thing, dude. The way will not be found without. It's the same thing. You wait for the way to be shown, and it goes in reverse. You'll know the way because it will affect your state and it will affirm the story. You know the way, and I'm going to talk a lot about the way because the way is what you're really asking today. We'll get to the way. You know the way is the right way when your heart agrees. You know the way is the wrong way when your emotions disagree. And I know there's all this, psychobabble, new age, scientific stuff that's like you can change your brain. You can change your brain by tricking it somehow so that you want things that you don't think you want and not want things that you think you want. But that's doing it rather than allowing it to unfold, and that's violence against yourself. You have to accept yourself as you are and let Jesus Christ change you from within. Be renewed by the transforming of your mind. It doesn't say transform your mind to be renewed. You transform your mind. No. You got to open your mind to reveal the way so that you can be changed, beginning with your state. So that you can not just be changed by your state, but your state, it's crazy because it works both ways. Your state will inform the way. And the way will be affirmed by your state as long as it's all based on truth. So what does that look like and what do you do? Once you know the truth and you are filled with light, you feel light, you will be shown the way. Here's a strategy for being shown the way. And this will never work, and that's why I'm harping, if these aren't established. You will never know the way. You will never know Jesus Christ. You'll never know the way. He is the way if you don't know the truth and the light. Truth is first. Truth is mind. Light is emotion. Way is actions. It works that way. It goes that way. It goes mind, emotion, action. It's not action, emotion, mind. Although you can be informed that way. Actions can inform your emotions, and emotions can conform to the truth or not. It could be a lie. Anyway, I'm already confusing y'all. So you rest in the peace of Christ. You're enlightened with the mind of Christ, which is giving you the light of light emotions. You feel at peace. There's no importance. There's no anger. There's no resistance. There's no force, right? There's no desire. There's no hankering. There's peace, light. Light, the real light is light, not heavy light. Jesus Christ says your light would be darkness. Your light will be darkness if your eye not be single. Heavy light, light, light. Your light should be light. When you're in this state, you already have it. You already have it. Now you just get to receive it, and he's going to show you how to receive it. If what you were looking to receive is consistent with truth and light, It's going to be easy. In the meantime, when you're in your walking life, God may show things to you in your prayer, in your meditation. That may happen. That can happen. More often than not, he's showing you the way while you're walking. It's in your walking life. And in order to be shown the way, you got to expose yourself to a lot of different ways. And when that way, that is your way, feels light, it's aligned with the truth, that is your way. But if the way that you see gives you darkness, gives you heaviness, it's not light, it's not your way. You got to trust the emotional guidance system. You got to trust the light that is Christ. So it's like shopping for clothes. Shopping for clothes is the best way to is one of the greatest sort of examples of how to go about finding your way, because everybody has a different style. But most people don't know their style because they're wearing what other people say they should wear. But if you go to the store, which I think is so difficult because the store only has clothes that the store wants you to wear, that the pendulum, the school, the media wants you to wear, what other people want you to wear, what the world is saying to wear. I found some really weird websites that have like all kinds of strange clothes. And I flipped through it. I don't remember the name of it right now. And I'm like, these are clothes I've never seen anywhere, clothes from like distant lands. And I'm like, huh. And my heart says, ooh, I think I'd want to wear that. And it's so unique, it's so different. And I just listen to my heart. My heart's like, I think I want to wear that. If you notice, I have uniforms. For years, all I wore was green. But recently, I don't know why, as I'm doing more mental prayer and meditation, God's telling me wear white. Huh? I don't know. So I'm looking for all those white clothes. And when I look at the white clothes, I feel light. When I look at dark colored clothes or multicolored clothes, I don't feel the same light. I might not feel heavy, but I don't feel the same light. Or if I see what somebody else is wearing or what's stylish, sometimes I'll actually feel heaviness. It's gotta match up with the light. It's gotta feel light. And the light is informed by the truth. So the way will be shown to you, but you have to expose yourself. Like you're going to a mall shopping for clothes. When you're shopping for clothes, what do? You go to many different stores, or if you're shopping online like I've been doing, you go to websites, you go to many different websites, and you look at many different forms of clothing. You look at all different types of cuts. I'm looking for clothes that are from like other lands. I want to know what people wear in the Middle East, what people wear in the East, what people wear in Africa. For some reason I'm drawn to like what monks wear. It's weird. I want to wear one piece, like I don't want to call it a skirt, but it's like a habit, right? One piece, no legs. I'm just drawn to it. But it's not here. It's here. My heart's just saying, huh, huh, oh, yeah, yeah. The more you expose yourself, you got to open the aperture. You got to open the aperture. You got to open the frame so you can let a lot of things in, so that you can align it with your. You got to measure it up with your state. And this is how to be aligned with what God wants for you. And that's the truth. And God wants for you what you want for yourself, but you gotta open yourself up to the plethora of ways. And you have to be sensitive. That's what this part right here is all about. You got to be sensitive to how God speaks to you when you're in the closet. Jesus Christ says, go to your closet. Go to your closet. Go to your closet and close your door where the Father speaks to you in secret. You got to understand the way he speaks to you in secret. For me, it's very physical. The light for me is very physical. I can feel it like in my physical body, mostly around my solar plexus. Interestingly, solar is like the sun. they call it the fire of metabolism. As you're breathing, it fuels the fire of your metabolism, your solar plexus. I feel a lot in my solar plexus and in my belly. So I know the truth of a thing or what I should do or what I shouldn't do by consulting with the light in my belly. That's me. But everybody's different. You got to get in touch with the way God speaks to you. God might speak to you. Some people, he speaks to you. He speaks to people in signs, like things, coincidences, synchronicities. He speaks to some people in their dreams. He speaks to some people audibly. You got to know you, and you got to be careful too. You got to be aware of how God's speaking to you. So how do I know what step is the next step or what direction God is really wanting for me? You got to know Jesus Christ. You got to know the truth. You got to stimulate the light. And the way will be revealed to you if you are sensitive to the light and how it's burning in you. Hope that helps, dude. Done.